Good evening, everybody. This is Capn Tinsley, Salty Bannon, with another Salty podcast where it's always a great day to talk about sailing. And this is episode 24. We have a special guest tonight, and I'm going to bring her right out. Her name is Kennan Cooley. How you
Yes,
doing,
and
Kennan?
congratulations. You said my name correctly. Woohoo.
I know. I almost said
That's
Kennan.
the hardest part about this. I know. That's really the hardest part of this whole interview.
Welcome to the Salty Podcast. I really do appreciate you doing this. This is going to be
No
fun.
No problem. Thank you for asking me. It's hopefully, it's
well,
fun.
Yes. So you have a very interesting story. I don't know all the details or anything, but I do know that you've had a boat for 1 year, and that
Sailboat
fascinated me. Oh, you've had a boat before.
Had 2 other boats before.
Okay, but this is your first sailboat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my question to you is, what led you? That's interesting. I didn't know that. What led you to sailing? And at this point in your life, what made you decide to sail and buy a boat?
Okay, so it's a long story, and it starts with
here
COVID.
For it. Okay.
Okay, it starts with COVID. So, and I guess it starts before COVID, where I sold my house. So I sold my house after having it for 26 years, kids grown, me going, you know what, it's time for something different. And so I sold my house, and at that same point, a week before the world shut down, I closed on my house. And then I was like, oh, I was going to get an RV and then get a smaller condo and get an RV and travel across country. Then COVID decided, no, you're not. And therefore I had to figure out something else. So I stayed in a hotel for a little while, and I had a friend who said, hey, I have this extra boat. Why don't you just stay on it for a while? And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I love the water. Every vacation I have has to have water in it. So that was a no-brainer for me. Just did not know people lived on boats. So that's how I started. So I stayed on here at 28-foot bayliner. So it wasn't a sailboat. It was a power boat.
Okay.
So I started on that, and then that one had some problems, and I moved to a 1967 Chris Craft that was available.
Okay.
And that one was at the marina that I was currently at, and it was abandoned. So I was like, you know what? This thing is fine. I just need to clean it up a little bit, and it's perfect. So I moved to that one. And then in the midst of that, this is where the sailboat comes in. So I was on my Chris Craft, and I have a friend of mine wanted to sail his sailboat. And I said, well, I do marketing. I'll help you out. Not a problem. So he was going to give me a percentage of it, and we were going to go from there. And then he came back to me a little bit later and said, you know what? Do you want the boat? And I said, what do you mean? I don't know. I can't afford what you're trying to pay, charge for the boat right now. He said, no. Do you want the boat? And I said, you mean for free? And I said, yeah, sure, of course. And that's how I ended up with this sailboat. That was a guy.
The one you're on, the sailboat?
That's how I ended up with it. It was a gift from God.
My God.
Well, all 3 of my boats were all 3 boats have been free.
Oh my God. Wow.
So it was like God just kind of guided me to this space. And then before I actually got this sailboat, the friend who gave it to me, plus some other friends from the marina I was currently at, they took me out on their boats. So I got to learn. That's when I fell in love with it. The idea of cutting off the motor and being at one with the wind and the water and just guiding the whole situation without a motor.
Well, tell people where you are. And
I'm sorry. I'm in.
I don't know if you want to give exact locations, but people like to hear about marinas and what marinas,
I'm in Edgewater, close to Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay. The mothership of sailing.
Well, and I didn't realize that the Chesapeake Bay is one of the biggest sailing, or I guess cruising, whatever, boat places in the world. Well, not in the world, but definitely in the nation. So, but you can feel it. You can see when you get out on the water, it is packed on the weekend. So I was really taken over by the idea of sailing, just because of the things that I love. Nature, I love being outside. Like I said, just the idea of just being able to manipulate, and it was a challenge. So for me, a powerboat, and I'm not nothing to do with powerboaters, but a powerboat, you just put
there's
it
mostly
on.
Sailors on here. It's okay.
Oh, okay, you're okay. Don't
Speak freely.
No, but you really get a different sense of challenge with a sailboat that you don't get, to me, with a powerboat. I mean, there are different challenges, but
like if there's no wind,
if there's no wind, or if there's too much wind, or
well, no, I mean on the power,
your mother,
you're not going anywhere. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sorry, if the motor goes out, you're not going anywhere on a power boat.
True. Oh, I have one more caveat to this boat too. It's also an electric boat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I actually love.
So you have an electric motor.
An electric motor, yeah. So that, as long as I'm powered up, I'm ready to go. I don't have to worry about gas.
Wow.
Eco-friendly. I love that.
Isn't it inboard or outboard?
Inboard. It's an inboard motor. The person who owned it before, he was an engineer. Shout out to Ross. He hears me.
So you heard it right here on the Salty Podcast. There's an inboard electrical motor. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, and so many people are thrown off by it. They just really think, okay, they think it's before its time, and I'm like, that's not really before its time. Everything's going eco, so it's really in time. So he made it from his mind, I believe, and he used the Golden Motors I believe the brand. That's the motor, the motherboard of the motor, and then he took everything out and wired it up, and so I don't have to worry about gas at all. So between gas and wind, I'm good. As long as between electric and wind, I'm good. I don't need gas.
Well, if you had to motor, how long could you motor?
So I've only I don't know if we told our viewers, but I've only been doing this I've only had this boat since last April.
Okay.
There were a few challenges that I had to overcome, so I didn't get out into the water till about October or something like that. I was gone part of the summer, so I got in April. There's a story as to what happened when I took it from the marina where it was located to where I was supposed to end up.
There's always a story.
There's always a story. The marina that I was supposed to go to did not check their depth, and I have a 5.6 keel. And it's not retractable. Okay, so it was a one-way trip into a sandbar we didn't know about. I got stuck right on the corner. That's not where I was supposed to go, and that's where I stayed. But when that happened, but that was somebody else's slip. That wasn't the slip I was supposed to go into. I was supposed to go
okay, all right.
But I was stuck for like a month, high tide, low tide, all that story. So they couldn't get me out, and then I was looking across the way, and I saw there's nothing but sailboats in the marina across from me. I was like, that's where I should have gone. Right. And so then I managed to, but that getting stuck in the sandbar messed up my shaft. So I had therefore my engine wouldn't go because it's electric and so forth. And therefore I had to be towed to this marina that I'm at currently. But once I got
How did you get out of the slip?
Waited for high tide. But it took a month. It took a whole month because it would be like, somebody's not here now. The previous marina wasn't managed well at that point, and they got rid of that guy. But so there was a whole bunch of management problems, and it just took a month. And me being new, I didn't know how to do it. So it just took a while. But once I got over to where I am, it's been great. I mean, I'm right there. I can see the Chesapeake from the opening from where I'm at that Sailboat bed. So.
I one day I hope to sail the Chesapeake. It's kind of far,
from where you are.
Yeah, I'd either have to be probably retired or have it shipped over there or something, which is a possibility. But I want to go back to what you said about the first time you turned off the motor, because I remember that moment, and I was taking lessons, and we turned it off, and I just remember, what did you feel? What was it like?
Now, the first time that I turned off on my boat or at all?
On any sailboat, and experience that with the wind is moving you.
It was surreal because I think I asked, so the motor's off? Because I guess I didn't realize we were still traveling at a good clip and there's no motor. And so it was really surreal to realize that you could catch wind and manipulate wind in such a way that you could propel yourself down. It's almost, it is like floating on a kite with a with a hull under you. You can really manipulate the atmosphere, I guess if you want to call it that, in order to get where you need to go, as long as you have the proper skills and mindset. But it was just surreal for me. Like, I just didn't realize that would be so much fun, because like I said, my uncle had a power boat, so I'm used to power boats. So I'm used to, if you have power, you're going somewhere. If you don't, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
So, but yeah, but it's so
Well,
much more
I
peaceful
felt
too.
like it was. I felt like it was like a sense of freedom.
Yes, that's true. That's a good word. Yeah, very
Yeah,
much so.
and I was
Hmm.
hooked.
Yeah, that's I was too.
Yeah.
I really was, and didn't realize I was missing it. Like I knew about sailboats, but I didn't see it
Right.
as that big of a deal. But now
Right.
I'm like going back. I'm completely hooked.
Me too. When was that? By the way, that time.
That probably would have been in 2021, I would think, around about
It's
then.
pretty recent. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the whole thing started in COVID, which is 2020. So I'm
That's right. Okay.
new to the whole thing.
Okay. So you found the new marina, and then what
Uh-huh.
happened? Did you have to do a lot of work to the boat?
So, like I told you, the shaft had come loose from the, I guess the, what's the word I'm
The
thinking of?
the
The
stern
shaft,
or the
yeah,
the
the
the keel? The
propeller,
keel.
yeah. Right, So it become loose, and I had to get that fixed. But then I thought that would solve the problem and have my engine start. So the one not problem, the one difference with the electric motor that I understand because I'm new to it is that
Yeah.
it's a lot more sensitive. So things can make it say, I don't like this, and it'll just won't start.
It's
So it won't.
sensitive.
Yeah, so but that's usually when you're at dock. So it's not like you're out in the middle of nowhere and it just decides to change its mind. It's usually once you won't be able to leave dock if there's issues. So the person who had it
Do
before,
you know this person? Biggest inspiration, free game Coots. Do you know that person?
I do know that person. That's my little baby boy.
Oh, it's your baby boy? Oh,
Yes, that's
that's
my son.
thank you,
Hey, baby
free
boy.
game Coots.
It's free game cools. Free game cools.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Sorry about that. It's not
You would
Coots.
kill me
That's
if I
not
didn't
very
let you
cool.
correct that.
Okay, so you found out that you had a sensitive motor.
Right. So, but I didn't know why, and no one else knew why. So the person at this marina, they came and fixed the shaft, but
Yeah.
then they couldn't get the motor started. And so I
They didn't
spent,
specialize in it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think he spent like 2 hours just kind of like, okay, it's not this, it's not that. Um, but thankfully, the person who gave me the boat was a godsend in the two ways: one that he gave me the boat, and the one that he stuck with me. So I could
Yeah.
text him and say, hey, this isn't working. And he had just a year or two before put this together himself, so he was still tweaking things.
Right.
So there were things he hadn't tested. So I said, well, hey, it's not. We fixed the what we thought was the problem, but it's not. It's still turning over. And he said, we went through a few things, and oddly enough, the thing that actually helped it was getting the bottom cleaned. Once again, rookie
Was get
moves.
what
The bottom
was
cleaned.
Oh yeah, okay. Really?
And I say bottom. I said that's a rookie move. I should have known that first, right?
Right.
But yeah, but because the propeller probably has something jammed in it, and then
Oh, okay.
the
Some
engine is so
barnacles or
sensitive.
something.
Who knows? I mean, but the engine is so sensitive that it won't start if it feels like there's something wrong. So in fact, this season it wouldn't start all of a sudden. I was like, okay, well, I already know it's a problem. But once I got it removed, it started right up. So it's
No
just
problem
that
since.
yeah. Now
Awesome.
that I know that that's the issue, so I tried to
Okay.
just keep it, turn it on every once in a while just to keep it clear. The Chesapeake Bay for me, yeah, I haven't tried a lot of waters, but Chesapeake Bay for me seems to collect a lot of bottom
There's a
gunk.
lot of growth down there. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to collect. Well, we used to have a great oyster
Uh,
population, and that has died. And I think that's
oh,
contributing to, yeah. I mean, it's not gone, but it's very low. And I do know
okay.
that people have said that that has contributed to it. But recently, at least up in the Baltimore area too, the water is getting cleaner. So they
Oh,
have
good.
allowed people to start swimming in it. And I think there was a ban on that for a while, but I don't think it stopped major people from doing it. But, the official word from the government was don't jump in or at your own risk, I guess, right?
Well, so I saw a post, and I don't remember. It popped up somewhere like a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, that you did an overnight, or you stayed. You went
Yeah,
off.
it wasn't on my boat. So it was on a friend's boat, and they're part of the um, Universal Sailing. Okay, I'm getting the last word mixed up, and outfit conventional. I'll think of it in a second. But they
Okay.
were. I wanted to make sure I said it right, but I forgot the last word. Anyway, they were having get together. So I met them.
That's
in
good.
Baltimore.
That's a good to join a group like that.
Yeah, and they were helping me, and they were getting together. So they went overnight, and I helped sail his boat. So I don't know if you should probably know about this though, but that the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Yes,
You know,
I
that,
saw the
yeah.
pictures that you took.
Yeah, so that was very surreal to go under that bridge.
Right.
Yeah, the Universal Sailing Club. I don't know why club was the word, but it's the reason why I wanted to bring it up too, because it's an all African American group.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to get more people of color, BIPOC color, to go out sailing.
Right.
So that is really, really important. So we were getting together.
Is there a big membership?
I don't think they're that big right now, but that's the problem, that there aren't a lot of African Americans sailing. There are a lot of African Americans on the water, but not a lot of sailing. And I don't know what the difference is. Maybe exposure. I do know that sometimes that seems to matter. You know, that there are more people who, let's say your family did power boats, and that's what you're going to do. Or if you get exposed to people who do power boats, that's what you're going to do. I never thought about a sailboat. You know, my uncle had a power boat, so there you go. But yeah, so we went on a 2 overnight. We started at the top of the Patapsco River, that's in Baltimore, and went down to the mouth of the Chesapeake, and stayed over at a marina, and then went back up. So that was nice because I'd never done an overnight sail, 2 days straight. I've been overnight. So I have done, I have friends who.
Were you actually sailing overnight?
No, we docked overnight. So we sailed till late. We started early, sailed till late, and then docked overnight. So it wasn't a very long trip. It was just more about being on the water for a couple of days. And I just had never done that overnight. I have been overnight on a catamaran with friends down in the Keys.
So you've been to the Keys on a sailboat. Okay.
Well, that's So
that's a lot of fun.
They have a catamaran, and he has a kite. So he used the kite. He has a power. He has 2 outboard engines, and then he has a kite that he uses. So we powered, and then we didn't get to use the kite during that trip, but that's what he has. So he has
like a spinnaker, like a sail, like a spinnaker, or
I think it's just a kite, because he took down his mast, and then he just has a kite up. So I can't really speak on it too much because we haven't seen it. But Andy and Lena, if you're around, you want to pipe in and
yeah, go ahead, comment,
clear it up for us, because I hadn't seen it. I know I've seen them, obviously on the boat, but I haven't seen them use it yet. But yeah, so let's go ahead and
let's go ahead and show a couple pictures here.
Oh, okay.
So I think this one on the left is the one I saw on the Facebook group, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to interview her. Like, you look happy. You look like me when I got my boat. And then this picture over here to the right. Tell us about that one.
Okay. Yeah. So the picture on the right was my first day of sailing. So it was all women group. I was proud of that. And the fun thing about that was all women, and it was different age groups. So the person who had the most experience, actually, she's a young woman. Her name is Monique, and she's studying to be a captain. And so she had more book knowledge than I did, but I had the boat and I had some, sailing experience. And then I had another family friend, that came along with us. So she was around in her 30s. I'm in my 50s. Another person was in their 70s. So it was kind of nice to have like generational, group that we went out. So we went out, and that was my first day on the sail. And we were at that point trying to put up the main sail.
I see you working that throttle there. So you look like a pro.
I fake really well.
No. Okay, let's just this is your boat there. Yep, is that yours?
That's
on
my
the
boat.
left?
That's the marina where I got stuck with the story I told you earlier. It's like, here I am. I'm stuck, but I'm here.
It's all part of the adventure. It's all part of the adventure. It's all part of the experience. I had another sailor friend. Whenever he cut himself or something go wrong, you're always hurting yourself on a boat. Say, it's all part of the experience.
Yeah, that's true. I've learned so much about what to do. I mean, I've become an electrician, and I'm like, all right.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've wired some stuff. I'm like, I just put in the GFCI the other day. That picture I was going to send you before you put it. out. That was the 3 women. That was the 3 women that we did.
Oh, I was going to come back to it. But I
okay.
wanted to
No,
hear
those are
about
the
you
3
being an
women.
electrician. Wait, this one, tell me, because I won't touch anything. I go ahead and get the guys $150 to come on. I don't want to fire.
So, well, you know, the funny thing was, the person who came to help me, he came and he started me on it. So he had done some of the work on it, but it still wouldn't work. So I was like, I don't know what he did or didn't do. He couldn't come back out. I had no electricity. I was like, all right, here we go.
Wow.
So I just pulled it back open. I saw what he did. I watched several YouTube videos, and then read a couple of things, prayed real hard, and closed my eyes and pushed the button.
Wow. I admire that. I admire that. All right, we're going to go back to the picture here.
Yeah. So that was the young lady on the left. Well, the left in the picture with the dark sunglasses on and the purple vest. That's Monique. And then another family friend is Miss Gail to the right of me.
Is she a sailor too?
She is not. No. So she's one of the she just took the adventure with us. So
she was crew.
She was crew. We were funny thing was I might have been a steering person, but I was probably more experientially a crew person. But of course, being my boat, I did the captain's position, but I called first mate, the one who had more experience. You know, she could obviously ride the boat and steer the boat as well. So
Monique.
Yeah, Monique. So we kind of all just worked together. I didn't really see us as your crew or not, because I just saw us working together because we were all on different. Monique doesn't have a boat, but she has more knowledge. I have a boat. I've sailed. She sailed, and then Miss Gail was just there. What we do? We pull this. You want me to tighten this up? Okay. So she helped with the jib sheets, whatever. She didn't care. She just did a little bit of everything.
This picture. This is you.
Picture.
Yeah. I've got pictures like that. I love that picture. You're like, this is my boat.
But that's actually the 2-day sailboat that we went on. The 2-day overnight.
Oh, okay. That was somebody else's boat.
That was someone else that we overnight. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've got to get my boat out this year. So like I told you, I started so late in the season last year with all of the different issues. I'm really looking forward to getting out this year and doing more on my boat. So the one thing why you found me is because I'm joining every group, and everyone's out there.
Have you joined Women Who Sail on Facebook?
I did. Because I'm trying to find more crew. That's been the hardest thing for me, is to say, hey, because between people's schedules and whatever else, you gotta have a few factors, right? You gotta have a good day with wind, no rain. Then you gotta have crew.
Right.
So
well, when I took my first lessons, ASA 101, did you take those courses?
No, that's one of the things I want to do this season.
The first thing I told the guy, ASA 101, 103, and eventually 104, I said, teach me how to do this myself. I don't want to have to rely on anybody feeling the mood, being off work, So I'm completely independent. But when my husband comes, he's the best first mate. Of course, it's easier, especially if the wind's blowing and I'm pulling in the boat. I trust him to jump off and keep me off the dock. But
that's the part I think I can do once I get out, is just getting off dock.
Absolutely.
That's the hard part. Yeah.
But you get good at it. What I do is I visualize it. I look at the situation. I can see where the wind's coming, and then I have to think about it. If I let this line go and the wind's blowing, and what will I do? And that usually, as long as I'm not too hasty,
True. Now, the funny thing is, so there are a couple of people here who have these, I call them extra rigging, where they have lines on the dock lines, and they have something where they're kind of like chasing themselves backwards until they get to the end. And I thought that might be something I could do, that way you can kind of keep hold of the tension,
right?
Until you're ready to let
tricks
go.
like that, and also marking the line, so when you come in, you can just quickly tie. Exactly where to tie the line on the cleat. Hanging the lines right where you can reach them, all that stuff. It just by practice,
Yeah, it's a lot to it. A lot more than. And my funny thing is, for me, if I had a clear space and no one on dock and no boats on dock, I feel more comfortable. I just don't want to hit anyone else's boat. I'm like, all right,
I hear you.
Not anyone else.
So I wanted to show you this picture of you reminded me of a picture of me.
Oh, really?
Look
Nice.
at that look on my face.
Yeah, you're concentrating, right?
That was 2015.
Oh, wow.
I was brand new. That boat was, I had just gotten a Catalina 25, but we were in the Keys and I had rented a boat and it wasn't my boat. So I was kind of intense. But
Mm,
that picture reminded me. And I also wanted to show you this one. This one was, I was coming back and it was cold. I don't like cold sailing. And this big old jacket has come in handy. And I made it a real estate ad. Look,
nice.
see the Tinsley Meyer at Remax of Orange Beach.
That's on your jacket.
That one's my Island Packet 27. That was my second boat, but the hurricane got that one, 2020. So now I have an Island Packet 320.
Oh, wow.
But
did you find it was easier to have? Because some people said you're starting too big. Like mine's 35 feet. So
it's big, but I mean, I think it's good. I think if you just when you take your ASA 101, if you can get an instructor to come on your boat and teach you on your boat, you'll be good. No, I think that you can handle it. You got to have the guts. I think you got the moxie. Most people don't.
That's really what it is, and that's funny because, like, you asked me a couple questions. I'm like, I know I don't know if we were talking about this on camera or off, but I know, because you said you studied before you bought your boat. And,
online. I studied because I was like reading everything, people's experiences, and it was fascinating to me.
Yeah, and I'm so the opposite. I need to be better with that because you I'm just kind of like, oh, let's go see what happens. Because when we did our first sail, I was tired of waiting. I finally got the boat working. I'm ready, and I've got a crew. But the winds were 10 to 14, and then they were going to 25 gusts. That's probably
that's
not
a little
the best
heavy.
day to start your first one. But I was like, you know what? If you guys are game, I'm game. And all the ladies are game, and we just went out. And
just keep me off the dock. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's something crazy. So I have solar panels too. Like there's two sets of solar panels. One's on the stern, up above the dinghy davits. So the problem is maneuvering that around the pilots. So we had this whole plan worked out. Talk about stories. And we had this whole plan worked out. Okay, so wind's coming from this side. We're gonna let go of that line, and this line. This is the last line we're gonna let go of. So I'm at the stern waiting, and I see the young lady up front on the bow, and someone started talking to her, and I was like, what's he saying to her? Well, I don't know what he said to her. Everything we planned on, he talked her out of. And the line that we should have let go of last, he let go of first. And I'm okay. I guess we're backing up now. And it was horrible because then we're hitting pylons, and I was like, oh God, okay. It literally, we hit the pylon, and then I said, okay, well, I got to keep backing up now because I didn't want to make it worse. I backed up, and then I realized that the pylon hit I don't know what you want to call it, but the solar panel hit the pylon, and literally the two ladies while I'm steering, are going on the back, on the stern, on the transom, trying to fix and hold up the solar panel. So we got it tied down a little bit to the point, but I was like, we had a whole plan. What did he say?
Some dude talked her out of the instructions. So I would say, see the arrow on the top, the anemometer or whatever, not the anemometer, but the arrow on the top. Let's see. Whatever side it's pointing to, that's where you're going to hold on to.
Right. We sat there for like 30 minutes figuring out the plan. And she, like I said, she studied it. We said, okay, yeah, we're good. We sat there for like 30 minutes talking through, checking the sails, checking our lines. Okay, you're going to do that first? You're going to do that? Okay, good. We're good. I mean, we got out. We're fine. But,
Right. I think the first time that you come out by yourself, just do it on a very...
That's what I'm going to probably do. Yeah, probably just go out on a day where I motor out and it's easily handled, put up the main.
Yeah, once you're out, you're fine.
I think that's what I am. Once I'm out, I'm fine. It's just getting off dock for me.
When I had the Catalina 25, it was an outboard. It would back up well. Mine is a full keel. When I got the Island Packet 27, it did not back up where you wanted to go. So you got to be ready for anything. So it took me when I got that boat over the other one, I felt like I went from a toy to the real deal. And I was so intimidated. Everything looked so different and I don't know, more something. And I remember I wouldn't take it out by myself. And finally, I woke up one day on a Sunday. I looked at my husband. I said, "Today's the day." He goes, "Okay." And then I was driving to the boat, and I kept thinking of places to stop. West Marine. I was like putting it off. And I go, "No, no." And I just had to go do it. And I did it.
Right. Yep.
You got to get over the hump.
Day. That's going to be one day. Yeah. Like you said, probably on a very calm day. But, then when you get out there, there's going to be no wind, probably. But
that's okay. Even if you're just going 2 knots and you're out there by yourself on your own boat, playing your music and everything, it's awesome. I remember going out on 4th of July and looking back at the beach in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, and it was crowded. And I was out there by myself, like, it's awesome.
I want to anchor out. If I do that, I probably would do it in anchor out. Wouldn't care about the wind. I would just be anchoring out, catch what wind I can, and just learning how to maneuver the jib by myself. And I was told something that was kind of a good idea, is to find a mooring and practice, backing in and backing out, because I do need to learn about prop walk. That I was told is important. So, and I think that's what happened when we backed up, is that I didn't know which way my prop was going. So it was doing what I thought was the right way, but it wasn't. And so it was the wind plus the prop. And
I think what helped me, and you didn't ask for my advice, but I think what helped me is to, instead of just like leaving it in reverse, because then it can start going anyway, is to just kind of bump it. Like, like just put it in reverse. When it starts going in the right direction, put it back in neutral.
Okay.
Because it seems like when I would leave it in reverse, it would start going some crazy direction. So, maybe play with that. Play with it, like just doing a little bit. If it's moving, might stop. And then if it starts, it can't, as far as it will,
And that makes sense, because it's already got motion to go reverse, so you don't have to help it anymore. That's probably where my mistake was, because I tried to help it more than it needed. Yeah,
because of the prop walk. But if you turn that off, it takes that out. But there's just all kinds of things you're going to learn just from doing, and just it's like my husband would always try to give me advice, and I go, "Shut up." And I finally got where I would, before I come into a marina, and I was pretty experienced by this time, and I go, "Okay, comments, suggestions, questions right now before we go in that marina.
Right.
Don't talk to me. I'll be concentrating. I'll be focused." And he goes, "I don't have any questions." Well, sure he did when we got in there. I do best. Just don't talk to me.
Yes, right. That's probably what you see also on that picture. Is like, I'm just concentrating. I do get focused, and when I make up my mind and I get focused, then I'm in one direction. So, whether we're getting very far or the wind's going to gust us, because once we got the mainsail up, we were starting to clip, and then we put the jib up. We were really heeling and flying for 3 women who didn't know what they were doing.
Like, whoa!
Yeah, I was like, wow. I actually was holding up the wheel with one side.
So where do you think your first overnight will be, like, to anchor?
Well, outside of around here, I really want to go down back to the Caribbean or the Keys. First of all, I need to be in water I can jump in. That's just like my goals. Like, I just need to go sail and then anchor somewhere and then jump in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I probably I hit. Well, there's actually a race. So I should back up too. I've been in 2 races.
Oh, okay.
I've been in one race where it was the Flying Scots. Those small 20-foot boats with no motor at all. They just have the rudder. And so I did that race. We were in 2nd place. That's kind of cool. And
wow.
That once. And then on July 13th, I'm supposed to be in the Harrington Harbor Sailing Association Regatta. So that's another race. It's coming up.
That's good experience. So, I've never been in a race.
Oh, really? Yeah, I thought that would be a good experience and more fun, kind of just instead of just sailing up and down the bay, to actually have a little bit more experience under pressure, right? Because when you're sailing, you have more pressure, and so that's what I'm looking to do.
Okay, let me do one thing. I got to introduce tonight's sponsor, which is me.
Okay.
In case you didn't know, I'm Tinsley Meyer at Remax of Orange Beach. I sell Gulfront condos in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Alabama, as well as Perdido Key, Florida. And I also host another podcast. If you like this podcast, a real estate/lifestyle podcast called Getting Beachy, real estate podcast on Thursday nights at 6. So thank you for that.
Very nice.
Yep, got to pay the bills.
Yes, indeed.
So actually, I was asked the Caribbean. That's a great goal, but
Yeah. I heard it's choppy though.
I want to encourage you to do a solo overnight anchor because there's nothing like it. Let me just tell you, it's awesome. You're on your boat, you wake up, you make your coffee. I'm telling you, there's nothing. And the sunset, the sunrise, the whole bit.
Yeah. That's why I love the Keys too, because you can see that.
Well, no, we're not there yet. We're in the Chesapeake. We're in the because I want this to be soon.
Okay, I mean, all right, challenge accepted there.
Okay, right. Challenge accepted. So, do we have a date?
Oh God,
How about a month?
All right, what's today? June.
We got some people watching. They're going to help me hold you accountable.
Oh Lord, and my son's watching too. Oh no. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's make it You said overnight?
Yeah, overnight. Where's a good place to anchor? I don't know the places up there.
Well,
there's like a really cool place here, and I noticed you were watching the Blue Angels. We have Blue Angels here too.
Oh yeah, that was.
I do want to show that.
That was incredible. Yeah,
I want to show that real quick. Who doesn't? This never gets old.
No, it is not. And that's the first time I saw it on the water. That was crazy. I loved every inch of that. Like they flew right past us. It's like,
yeah, there's a place here that we where they practice, and you can anchor right out there and watch them all spring while they practice.
Oh wow.
But there's another scene where let's go a little bit longer here. The next one, or did we already see that? Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Now the reason I share this is because this is all part of boating.
There's so much to boating that that's what I think I love about it. It never gets old.
There we go. I wanted to show that.
Yeah.
This is from her Facebook page, by the way.
Follow me.
All right.
Yeah, it never gets old. It sounds funny. There's another one.
Oh, I didn't remove it.
Oh,
there we go. Why do I still hear it? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's all part of the experience, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's and there's so many things to do that you can't really get bored. I mean, like you said, between anchoring out, trying to challenge yourself and go to another location. I just enjoyed even just when we were in the Keys, just marina hopping. I know that sounds crazy, but just seeing different marinas, how they operate, and
meeting all the boat people.
Yeah, meeting people. It was a lot of fun. So I'll take your challenge and give me
all right.
Month and a half or so.
What month are we? What month?
All right, the end of July. Okay.
That's going to be hot, but okay.
Well, I said by the end of July, maybe sooner.
It may not be. It's pretty hot there too, right? I mean, in July.
Oh gosh, yeah. All right, so you have to make it long.
I do it anyway. I have a little generator. I can run my air, but I'm just like, I'm a sailor. I'll just sweat. Okay.
Well,
so
maybe these solar panels will actually work, and then I can survive a night. That'd be good.
Well, okay, so yeah, you can get a little DC fan. I get a couple of DC fans that operate off of DC power, and just if I put that on me, I can sleep. Yeah. So, okay, so does it have to be the end of July?
No, I was saying by then. It might be sooner. I was giving
Okay.
myself a couple of months to get my life together. You want an exact date?
No, I know that it's weather permitted. I mean, it's and also your work and all that, but I think June would work, don't you?
June 5th. I got 25 more days. All right, fine. Challenge accepted.
Okay. All right. I like you. All right. So June, you're going to do an overnight. Do you know where that would
everybody
be?
that knows me knows I'm one of those.
There's people listening. Your friends. Yeah,
my
your
friends know
are
that I say yes quicker than I should.
It's on your Facebook page too for perpetuity. So is there a good Like, is there like you have an anchorage? Lost you. Okay.
You're good.
Is there a good anchorage that everybody likes to go to there?
Not a particular one that like that everybody goes over there. But there is a couple of places people dock. But having a sailboat is harder because the bay. That's what happened just when I first sailed. We were fine. And then we did what you call it. What do you call it when the two sails, one's wing on wing?
Yeah,
I forgot what
wing on wing.
Keylock.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we did that to kind of get a rest because we were tired, and we were in plenty of water. Then we
and you
weren't.
have a chart plotter, right?
Yes, but we were fine. We were in plenty of water, and then we just drifted, I guess, slowly, not a lot. But the bay has a lot of sandbars that'll come out of nowhere. And in fact, one time we were sailing. Yeah, we were sailing and it looked like it was fine. And literally friends who were coming back were like, "No, don't do that. Don't do that."
Local knowledge.
And then realized it was don't go there because it'll change. It changes just like that. So that's my biggest thing about
after a storm.
Finding where I won't drift and end up stuck.
Yeah. And you learn how to. Everybody runs aground. If somebody says that, then they lying or they haven't been sailing long. Everybody runs aground. That's why you get sea tow.
Well, I was gonna say, and you want to know what's funny about that? So I had Progressive, and they have a towing option, right? And I was like, we had been out there trying. The video on that is actually funny too because we are literally taking the anchor, trying to throw it overboard, trying to see if we can pull ourselves and get it unwedged, and trying different things. It didn't finally work, and we were so tired. And it was like, okay, forget it. I'm just going to call, getting towed. We just happened to be sailing on the same day as the boat show.
Annapolis boat
and
show?
Could I get someone to come get us?
No.
And, sorry, can't do that. We're at the boat show. Really? So me out here stuck is not an emergency more than the boat show? That's fine. Okay, whatever. I'm paying for it.
Oh my God, that's bad timing.
Little small handwriting and don't do it during the boat show. So what I did was I said, being that I do know how to get out of snow, being this climate that I'm in, I'm gonna do what I do when I get in snow, stuck in the snow. So turned on the motor, tried to wedge forward, to went backwards, wedge forward, wedge backwards, wedge forward, wedge. I just did that for like 20 minutes and we finally wedged out. And got out without
probably not great for your keel, but
I didn't say it was great. It was just one of those.
But you do have sea tow or Towboat US?
It was Progressive actually. They have their own.
Is that the same? Oh, do they?
They do, yeah. They have their own, and they're up to 75 miles offshore. So they have their own towing, which is actually pretty good. So I still would like to have a backup plan.
Yeah. Well, I have sea tow, and then I found out that I needed another one because they're all franchised and they're not equal. I was way down and on the west coast of Florida. I found a guy that just didn't want to come. So I was able to find sea tow. So I just went ahead, since I do so much traveling, it was worth it just to pay $189 times 2. Towboat US and sea tow.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about doing, having Progressive in another one. Yep. Yeah, after that,
I paid a lot of money because when I broke down offshore, they came out and got me.
Right.
That would have been That would have been probably $20,000.
Like buy boat.
Yeah. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But okay, so we can count on you going to an overnight. You're gonna have to figure out the right anchorage.
Yeah, I'm sure people around here can tell me. Where to go.
Local knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there might even be a group that goes out. There are
people that will anchor pretty close to where I am. It's just that you have to watch for low tide. The people who do it, they usually are power boats. So, and there's a couple of people who have sailboats. I don't know if they have a retractable keel. That helps.
Yeah.
But
my first boat had that. My Catalina 25 had a retractable keel.
I would like to have that. That's
but it's not good for offshore because it's because they can. I don't know. Someone told me they could break if you're in heavy seas.
Oh, I heard they could flood or something. But
oh well, I didn't even think of that. Water. So your long-term goal. Let's hear it. Caribbean. What do we talk? Keys first or what?
So my long term would definitely be some, going to Caribbean. So I was telling you earlier, there's a race they do from here in Annapolis, Maryland, and they go to Bermuda.
Oh,
I'm like, first of all, race from here to Bermuda? That sounds long. That sounds interesting and intense as a race. I mean,
yeah,
if you're going
intense. That's
and
way
he told
offshore.
me, yeah, and it told me it was my friend Michael Campbell, and he told me it only took 8 days.
That's a long time at sea.
And he had a female captain.
Well, the longest I've been offshore by myself is about 30 hours.
Wow, that's
By myself. Now I've been offshore for 48 hours with my husband because eventually you got to sleep. But
oh, you sailed overnight?
Yeah.
Okay, where were you headed?
Well, there's a crossing I have to make across the Gulf if I'm going to the Keys. So there, I don't know if you're familiar with the geography of Florida. So I'm right next to Florida. I'm in Alabama, and I'll usually go over to Destin, and then if I have somebody with me, I'll cut across to Clearwater, Florida, and that's about 2 days.
I have friends in Clearwater. Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And then you take day trips all the way down. Then when you get down to Marco Island, if I drop down to Marathon, that's about 18 hours. I've also gone
Marathon. That's one of my favorite. I like that.
Marathon Marina or Faro Blanco. Weren't you at Faro Blanco? Did I see a picture?
Yep, I did. Yep.
Yeah, I've been there many times. It's expensive. It's very.
I didn't pay.
Yeah,
I was just on there. I was crew.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. There's a pool, a nice restaurant, and everything. But I've also gone from like Captiva to Key West by myself and back. Oh, many times. Yeah, all those were by myself. In fact, I've never gone from. Yeah, the only time I've ever had somebody with me was for a long crossing was like from Destin to Clearwater.
So are
a
you
couple of days
docking overnight? Or are you docking overnight, or are you like you're just sailing in the daytime and then docking somewhere overnight?
No, that's out. That's out in open water. Your boat is going.
But you're just
you're
on autopilot. I'm assuming you're sleeping at some point.
Yeah. Well, what I do is if I'm by myself, I just kind of eventually I'll just kind of lay down in the cockpit and kind of cat nap and get up and check and everything. I wake up, and now if I did that for 2 days, I'm afraid I wouldn't wake up. So I want somebody with me. But 30 hours is the longest, 31 hours
That's
or so.
Long.
Yeah. And I've got solar panels. Yeah, you got to want to be there.
Yes.
There's sometimes it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, but but was it good weather at least? I guess, or
I have been caught in some interesting situations.
And that's my concern. Like when you're out, it's like it's not, if you're close to shore, you can, it's getting bad, let's dock somewhere. But when you're out, it's like you're out.
Yeah, there's no way to fully. Let me see. We might have a comment here. Oh, I am David Christian.
Hey.
Good night.
That's one of my St. Croix buddies.
Okay. Well, he said go. So he's saying okay. Thank you.
In Croix, you say good night, which is their way of saying
that means hello. Does that mean hello? Okay. Thank you,
saying good night,
David.
but not saying good night like as in go to sleep.
Right.
I'm explaining Christian now. I'm Christian.
Are you right? We need a translation. So I do have a guy that I met in the Keys. He was a pilot for 25 years with Southwestern, lifetime sailor, lives on a boat in the Keys, and he became a good friend of mine, and he's my weather expert that I run everything past. Because he flies in retirement for a rich guy, a 737. So he's still got access to all the stuff that pilots do. And I'll run it past him. I'll say, what do you think about this day about me crossing? He'll look at it and he'll concur or have another suggestion if you wait this or leave a little early.
Right.
Now, it doesn't always work because weather's weather. And you got to be ready.
Right.
Is this a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Jimmy Ruggiero?
Jimmy, yes. Now he's actually very interesting. Yes, he's interesting. He's a Frenchman who is sailing. Well, I guess he's down in Dominican Republic now, but he's sailing all over. Like he's doing the globe.
Is he somebody I want to interview?
probably, Jimmy, you want to be interviewed? Yes, I think so. I would think so.
Comment below.
And I got introduced to him because a friend of his said he was stuck out somewhere, and did I know how to help him? And I'm like, no. But I gave him some tips about how to get, because he's not being from the States, how to get in contact with people. So I guess he called the Coast Guard or something. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't anywhere near me, and he got stuck out there. That's how I came in contact with him. But he's a serious. That's why I'm always admiring serious people who are doing it. I mean, I didn't know people before I got into this. I had no idea people were doing it this seriously, crossing globes every day and up and down 5 and 6, 20 years. I mean, it's like, wow, that's.
Well, you need to watch some of my interviews, because I've talked to some Oh, he said, okay, he says, I have a very bad connection, maybe another time. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to tell you, when I crossed back over from, I crossed from this, in the winter, the Gulf is rougher than in the summer. And I came back in December. So when I crossed, it got really bad. I mean, I was looking up at the waves, and I kept getting
you were looking up at the waves?
Yeah. And I had to change my trajectory because the waves were hitting on my starboard side. So I changed direction so it would hit my stern. And I was kind of surfing,
To push you, push you forward.
Yeah, it was making me go a little faster. But I kept getting these emergency messages on the VHF about this bad storm I was in. And I was like, I always heard that you need to call early. Call early before you get in trouble.
Right.
Because I've heard people die from not doing that. At least tell them where you are, that this is the situation. I'm okay right now, but that could change. And so I called him and I said, "Here, this is where I am." I gave him my coordinates. I keep getting these messages about this storm from you, and I just wanted to let you know I'm out here by myself, and here's where I'm heading. And they checked with me every hour, sometimes every half hour. They wouldn't go away until I was tied
the
up.
waves were up. You were looking up at the waves?
I looked up at them. I was like, whoa. Yeah. And
I would have retired at that point, at least by myself. That's now that to me is brave.
I didn't eat for 24 hours because I didn't drink coffee, and I love coffee. So I just told them where I was. I mean, it's a great lesson. I remembered somebody else, a whole family died they didn't report the problem. They'd been talking to the father's brother, but they never called the Coast Guard.
Coast Guard, yeah.
At least tell them where you are, tell them the potential problems. Then if there's a problem, they can come right to you. And so I did that. And so I like to share that because I think it's important for safety.
Yeah.
And they checked with me that I love the Coast Guard. They checked with me. Once I got in Apalachicola Bay, it was calm, and I was ready to be done with the U.S. Coast Guard. But they said they called me every half hour until I was tied up to a dock.
Wow.
Now, that is so cool, don't you think?
Yeah, but I think, in the long run, that saves them from having to find you later. Like, we know where she was half hour ago. You know where she was a half hour ago. So if you come missing, they at least know where to start. You know what I mean? Because
right.
They got to start way back over where Bahamas, where you're going the opposite way. There's nowhere to start. So I think it's smart for them once they know, and they probably have some level of responsibility.
I imagine they had a board with me on it, and they couldn't take me off the board
until you died.
Once I called them, they were like, "We can't take her off the board until we hear she's tied up." And I was like, "Thank you." I just love the Coast Guard,
I wouldn't have got tired of it. I'd be like, "Can you stay on a little longer?" Until I do that, until I'm in the restaurant by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I got in that calm water, I instantly got hungry, by the way. But
I get hungry no matter what when I sail. I'm the hungriest when I sail. I do not know why. Maybe it's just the wind.
If it's rough, what if there's 8
no, just
foot
at
waves?
All.
Really?
I don't know that yet. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'm working my way up, okay?
Yeah.
First
we're just going to get
overnight.
you. We got to get you to leave the dock by yourself and go anchor overnight. Then we'll have you down in Florida, and then we'll have you in the Keys, and then we'll have you in the Caribbean.
And it's funny because, like I said, I'm one of those people like, God, why did she say that? Now I've got to go do it.
Yes. Well, there's some reason why you came up with this challenge for yourself. I'm 59. You said you're in your 50s, and I
I'm 59
started
as well.
sailing. Okay, and so I
Yep.
got my first boat in 2015. So we were 50?
Good man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I took my first lessons a few years before that. I mean, 40s. And we're like, oh, you've been sailing your whole life? Nope. But I've made up for
Right.
lost time.
Right.
So
As they say,
I
it's
can
never too
see you
late.
doing it.
Right?
I
Well,
see
thank
one
you.
day you're gonna meet me in the Keys on your boat. I'll be on my boat and you'll be on yours.
Yeah, all right.
And then we'll
Another
do a
challenge
podcast.
side by side.
Yeah, you're the professional. So better tell them what you are as a professional before someone thinks that's
Professional.
You're a professional media person, just in case anybody's wondering.
Just want to know what professional means. Yeah. Media marketing professional. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Go ahead and give yourself a plug before we end this. Go, yeah.
Well, my company is Oasis Productions Inc., and I've been in business for media and marketing for over 25 years. I have my own podcast with Alvin Chia. We do Making It, and it's about entertainment. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's about the entertainment business.
I'm sorry. It's about the entertainment business, but I also have two wonderful sons. I have a daughter-in-law, and I also have a new grandson.
I saw that picture of your grandson. I was wondering who that was.
So cute.
You said
he's 5 months old now.
What was life about before, or something like that? You posted. Now this is what life's about.
Yes, the funny thing, and you always hear as people who are yet to be who are grandparents to tell us who are yet to be grandparents, it's just different. You're not gonna stop loving being. And he's only 5 months old. And it's just so much different. Just I guess because you can say, "Oh, he's so cute," always thinks,
and then give him back.
And give him back.
And you can spoil him. You don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Well, are you going to teach him how to sail? He'll be your first mate before you know it.
Right. I would love to do that. I'm trying to get my two sons, hint, out here too.
Oh, are they? Well, what did they say about it? Are they proud of you?
Yeah. Well, you saw the one that was on just now for Kennan Cooley. Yeah, they are very proud of me, and they say that I'm their biggest inspiration because I'm willing to do stuff just
awesome.
Because I appreciate that. Really, that's what motivates me. My kids and my family are my motivation. So yeah, I'm hoping that I have a sailboat still and in my right mind, and can teach my grandson how to sail along with my kids and daughter-in-law and whoever else wants to do it. Because I think, and this is just, I also have a book called The Power of Can't and how to get rid of it and how to rid it out of your life. So that book I wrote, and that's really the inspiration of how I live. Because you say the power of can't.
I wrote that down.
Okay, yeah, the power of can't and how to rid it out of your life. And I wrote that book back in 2016 or something, but it really was me expressing how I internally feel, because you only get one chance to live your life. So just like when I got this boat, I didn't know how to sail, but he had, the opportunity was there. I was like, you know what? Sure, let's figure this out as we go. And
well,
so
I'll tell you what, this will keep you young. This will keep us young.
Young or so old, or I don't know how old. Some days I'm like, oh my God, all right. Yeah, I remember how old I am now.
Yeah. Well, I go to a trainer I'm going to do this when I'm 80. I'm going to stay in shape.
That's how you do it. Great. It will keep you in shape. This totally replaces the gym.
Right.
When you finish pulling lines and pulling sails and going against, because wind doesn't care.
Right.
Wind does whatever it does, and and you have to try to figure out how to keep the sail, in line and keep us from. It's a small line between a good thing and a bad thing, right? But because if the wind is too much, it can throw you over. If the wind's not enough, then you're not going anywhere. So it's just that challenge that I love about it. But it is, it takes a lot out of you.
My sweet spot is 10 to 15 knot winds. That's my sweet spot. I like that.
Okay. But you had to be doing more than that with that big sea thing behind you. When you're down yeah.
No, it was more like 30 plus knots in that.
Yeah.
I was not fond of that.
So you're saying that's an exception, not a rule, right?
It was just a necessary evil to get to the other side. You know, when you get out there, sorry, I have a allergy cough that pops up on me. When you get out there and you're offshore, you can't pull over like on the interstate. You got to go.
That's what
with
I'm
it.
saying. Yeah. Right. I know. And I got to get my moxie up for that because, man, that's a one-way trip. You really have to say, okay, I'm doing it. Godspeed.
Yeah. And find a really good weather person.
I don't
Like
know
a
if I'll be doing
sailor?
it alone. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be at least me and one other person. But yeah, maybe I'll work my way up to that. But so.
Well, maybe someday I'll see you in the Keys.
You'll just shove me out there.
No. All right. So before I start coughing, let me just say this. You're going to come back on for an update.
Oh,
you're going to come back to the Salty Podcast. Okay.
All right.
Because this is exciting. There'll be a lot of people watching for inspiration. And like you said, you just kind of jumped into it. So, and you know, I like it. Forget the planning. You'll never do it. Right.
That is true. That is very true. That was the point I was making about, you know, I didn't do this out of a plan. I didn't sit here and say, oh, you know what, one day I want to sail. Let me go think this through. It just it felt like a good idea. And I'm not saying there aren't challenges, but I don't regret it. So I think that's the thing is like, if you think you're going to like it, and what's the worst thing I can do? I don't like it. I sail the boat. You know, I don't have to be stuck to it, but if I don't try, I'll never know. So that's really how I'm just living my life and trying to say, hey, just try it. If you like it, if you don't,
I love it.
You know,
you're my kind of gal. All right. Well, on that note, we'll end on that positive note. And the way I like to end it is, well, first of all, I'll say you're going to come back, so I hope you will. And I'm going to check with you, okay? And this is the way I end it. Salty Abandon out.